中央广播电视总台国广记者提问：我们注意到当前呢，全球性的挑战层出不穷，国际社会普遍期待联合国来发挥更大作用。同时呢，有一些大国企图绕开联合国来组建自己的小圈子，对以联合国为核心的国际体系造成冲击。那么今年呢，联合国将会召开未来峰会，那么明年呢，也将会迎来联合国成立80周年。所以我们想请问外长，如何来看待联合国在这个国际事务当中发挥的作用？那么对于联合国的发展和改革又有怎样的主张？谢谢。
China Radio International. With global challenges emerging one after another, the international community looks to the United Nations to play a bigger role. But some major countries try to bypass the UN and form all sorts of small circles, which undermines the UN-centered international system. The UN will hold the Summit of the Future this year and celebrate its 80th anniversary next year. How does China see the role of the UN in international affairs, and what are China's suggestions for the reform and development of the UN?
China always believes that there is only one system in the world, i.e., the international system with the UN at its core. There's only one order, i.e., the international order underpinned by international law. And there's only one set of rules, i.e., the basic norms of international relations based on the purposes and principles of the UN Charter. No country should do whatever suits it or reinvent the wheel. The crises and challenges seen in recent years serve as a repeated warning that the role of the UN should be strengthened, not weakened, and the status of the UN must be upheld, not replaced. Over the last 70 years and more since its founding, the UN has weathered wind and rain and withstood the impact of power politics. It remains the most universal, representative, and authoritative intergovernmental organization. The core mechanism for achieving world peace and development, and an important platform for the many small and medium-sized countries to participate in international affairs as equals. China is the first country to have signed on the UN Charter. China is the biggest contributor of peacekeepers among the permanent members of the Security Council, and the second largest contributor to the UN's regular budget and peacekeeping assessment. In response to the development deficit, we advanced the Global Development Initiative as a boost to the implementation of the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. In response to the climate threat, we support UN-led international cooperation on climate change, and will make the world's biggest cut in carbon emission intensity in the shortest time frame ever seen in history. At the same time, the UN also needs to reform and improve in keeping with the times, to adapt to the new realities of international political and economic development, and to increase the representation and say of developing countries. Major countries in particular need to assume their responsibilities and help the UN, including its Security Council, to better fulfill its mandate, build global consensus more effectively, mobilize global resources, and coordinate global actions. China supports the UN in holding the Summit of the Future and reaching a pact for the future that benefits all parties. We will work with the international community to support the continuous development and improvement of the UN, taking international rule of law as the basis, fairness and justice as a principle, win-win cooperation as the goal, and effective action as an orientation. We will practice true multilateralism and promote greater democracy and rule of law in international relations. Thank you.